and BBC One, Secret History.
Make 'em laugh, make 'em laugh. Don't you know everyone wants to laugh? My dad said be an actor, my son. But
in part 1 of this episode of Secret History, we researched the concept of laughter, and how it is often referred to as the best medicine.
you could study Shakespeare and be quite elite. And
Our experts explained how a joke is interpreted and processed by the brain to produce the act of laughter.
laugh, make 'em laugh, make 'em laugh.
We visited the International Center for Academic Study of Laughter in Munich,
Everyone wants to laugh.
and it was here that a sinister subplot was uncovered.
But give it plenty of hope.
We received documented proof that governments across the world had secretly plotted to influence the mood and outlook of their citizens by effectively force-feeding laughter to them. Research had proved that a happy population is a compliant population, economically buoyant and socially calm. The mission statement was to control people, not by restricting them, but by making them chuckle. In part 2 of this episode, I will continue the search for categorical proof, and then seek the appropriate explanation for this insidious plot. My aim is to assign clear responsibility and accountability, and bring the appropriate people to justice. This objective takes me on a journey far beyond my expectations, and leads me down a path from which I could never turn back. It is 30 days since I met Jolly Peter in the basement of the Sexy Boy Bar in Soho. I never thought I would ever say something like that. Since that eventful meeting, my life has changed dramatically. I lost my job at the Bucks Herald, my wife took custody of our Labrador, Mickey Blue Eyes, and I'm now constantly in fear of my life. A month on from first reading and seeing the video evidence that Jolly Peter handed over to me, I now find myself in Vietnam. But let me step back briefly, and explain what did happen next. Almost immediately after receiving the information from Jolly Peter, my behavior began to change. I found it hard to concentrate on anything other than Guff 4. My work suffered first. The job that I loved, as an investigative reporter for the Bucks Herald, deteriorated. The final straw came when I was sent to Washington to question Donald Trump on his foreign policy. I somehow became preoccupied with the plight of small people, and women who have tattoos. I want to bring up the topic of short people, and your disregard for them.
Here we go.
You keep talking about the entry of short people into America, as some sort of invasion.
I consider it to be an invasion.
Mr. President, this is not an invasion. It's simply a group of height-challenged individuals trying to create a future for themselves where they can be recognized and appreciated as equals to their taller peers.
As I consider it an invasion, you and I have a difference of opinion.
But do you think you demonize short people?
In this election
to try to keep them.
I want them to come into the country, but they have to come in legally. You know, they have to come in, Jim, through a process.
My name's not
I want it to
Jim.
be a process. And I want people to come in, and we need the people.
Your
You know,
campaign.
Wait. You know why we need the people, don't you? Because we have hundreds of companies moving in. We need the people.
But your campaign had an ad showing short people being thrown over the Mexican wall by bigger people.
They weren't actors.
They're not.
They weren't actors. Well, no, it's true. Do you think they were actors? They weren't actors. They didn't come from Hollywood. These were people. This was an actual. You know, it happened a few days ago, and
They are just tiny little people. They are barely 5 foot tall.
Honestly, I think you should let me run the country. You run CNN.
Bucks
And
Herald.
if you did it well, your
I
ratings
work
would
for
be
the Bucks Herald, not CNN. If I may ask another question. Mr.
enough.
President,
That's
Mr.
enough.
President, Mr. President.
enough.
Sorry, madam, I'm just
President,
trying
that's
to
enough.
ask a question. About your dislike of women with tattoos. Are you worried what that may lead to?
I'm not concerned about anything with
You
the
may have
Russian
indictments coming.
investigation.
I didn't
because
even
it's a
mention
hoax.
Russia.
That's enough. Put down the mic.
On the topic of tattooed women, are you concerned that they may be men dressed up?
Mr. President,
I'll tell you what, CNN should be ashamed
Bucks
of
Herald.
itself having you
Bucks
working
Herald.
for them. You
I've
are
come
a
all the
rude,
way from the Bucks
terrible
Herald.
person. You shouldn't be working
Economy
for
class.
CNN. Go
I
ahead.
slander Kiwis.
I think that's unfair.
You're a very rude person. The way you treat Sarah Huckabee is horrible.
I don't even
The
know
way
who
you treat
Sarah
other people are
Huckabee is.
horrible. You shouldn't treat people that way. Go ahead. Go ahead, Peter, go ahead.
In Jim's defense, I've traveled with
My
him.
name's
watched
not
he's a
Jim.
diligent reporter who busts
Well,
his
I'm
butt
not a
like
big
the
fan
rest
of
us.
yours either, so
I understand.
to be honest
So
with
let me ask you a question if I can. You repeatedly
you,
said...
you
I
are
just
the
want
best.
people
Mr.
to know
President,
that
you
my name is
repeatedly-
Hugh, and
over
I'm
the
from the
course of-
Bucks
Just sit down,
Herald.
please.
For Christ's sake.
Well, when you report fake news, when you report fake news, which CNN does a lot, you are the enemy of the people. Go ahead.
Mr. President, over the course...
I got the sense that my editor, Miles Davis, was not happy with my performance at the Trump press conference. I was asked to go straight from the airport to his office. Hey Miles.
Closer.
Cheer up, you miserable sod.
Okay, there's no easy way to do this. You need to get your things and head out. Sorry.
Fuck off.
Yeah.
You really are a piece of shit, Miles.
Yeah.
I haven't got anything.
Well, just check around if you brought any
You didn't even give me a desk, you shit.
papers or pieces of paper or something.
Stick your papers up your arsehole, you pretentious
Something that you wrote
twatty
down,
looking
some
son
notes
of a
that you
pig
clearly didn't
fucker.
take that would have helped you with this job, but you should probably just get your things as quickly as possible and head on out.
Shall I come back tomorrow?
You're fired. That's what. I don't have a cardboard box to give you to put your things in, but you can put your things in, your backpack. Yeah, you just haven't been performing well, so
Let me tell you about performing, Miles.
that's kind of it.
You perform like a fucking tractor. A tractor that is pulling a fucking elephant that hasn't got any fucking legs. You are a useless and spineless twat, and the only reason your wife is still with you is because she is shagging your dad, and she's afraid he'll piss off if she divorces you. Everyone in this place despises you. Even the fucking goldfish. Ordinarily I wouldn't wish ill on anyone, but I sincerely hope you become critically ill in the near future, you good-for-nothing dog shit. You are the most idiotic piece of... I had obviously gone too far. My mind was racing. I had lost my job, and probably destroyed my ex-boss's marriage. Yet all I could think about was Guff 4. I needed to get some rest. Something to distract my mind. I decided I would go straight home, and take my Labrador, Mickey Blue Eyes, for a walk. When I got home, I was shocked to find my wife's boyfriend trying to put Mickey Blue Eyes into his car. I challenged him and asked him to stop. Unfortunately, this man is a confirmed nutcase. Capable of anything. Mickey Blue Eyes is an excellent judge of character, and refused to jump into the ex-Marine's car. I laughed and mocked him with some sharp intellectual banter. He threatened to, and I quote, put several holes in me. The brutal moron then did what all ex-military idiots do, and used blackmail to persuade my poor dog to get in his car. I was calling the police at this point, but I was struggling to persuade the civil servant on the end of the line that this was indeed an emergency. Obviously embarrassed at his failed attempt, Doug threatened me again. I made a joke about PTSD, and he got all flustered. Mickey Blue Eyes was making a complete fool out of him. But I was worried what Doug might do to my beautiful dog if he continued to get frustrated. So I did what any good man would do for his best friend. I whistled a special tune, and told Mickey Blue Eyes he should go. I wept like I've never wept before. I fell to my knees. Mickey Blue Eyes barked, as Doug shut the car boot. It was a last farewell from my best friend. Doug slipped me the finger as he drove away, and I curled up in a ball, and cried myself to sleep. When I woke the next morning, still in my clothes, I was greeted by a number of text messages. My disastrous performance in Washington had become world news.
President Trump labels British journalist a moron of massive proportion. Unknown reporter Hugh Corblimey agitated Donald Trump yesterday with repeated questioning about the poor treatment of short people.
You run CNN.
Bucks
And
Herald.
If you did it well, your ratings.
I work for the Bucks Herald, not CNN. If I may ask another question.
That's
Mr.
enough.
President,
That's
Mr.
enough.
President, Mr. President.
enough.
Sorry, madam, I'm just
President,
trying
that's
to
enough.
ask a question.
Mr. President.
I'll tell you what, CNN should be ashamed
Bucks
of
Herald.
itself having you
Bucks
working
Herald.
for them. You
I've
are
come
a
all the
rude,
way from the Bucks
terrible
Herald.
person. You shouldn't be working
Economy
for
class.
CNN.
The next few days were a complete blur. I drowned my sorrows with a mixture of whiskey, baby sham, pink lemonade, and modeling glue. I did things that I would like to forget. And I said things to my ex-wife that no man should ever say. Hello, I'd like to speak to Angela, please, Mr. Ex-Marine Big Man. Angela, your vagina was always massive. I could have parked a taxi in it, and opened the driver's door without touching the sides. Tell Mickey Blue Eyes, I love him. As I sat in my front room, I felt a terrible shame. I knew that Angela was paranoid about the size of her vagina, and I had really stuck the boot in. What was I becoming? But who would have thought that television would come to my rescue?
Rapper and TV celebrity Jolly Peter was found murdered tonight in what looks like a professional and seasonal assassination. Our reporter, Carol Klinkenberg, is at the scene.
Yes, indeed, Ron. Police were called to the scene of an apparent homicide at 9:35 this morning, when the mother of Jolly Peter found her dead son in the wreckage of his car. The 37-year-old rapper and father of 12 was apparently, according to eyewitnesses, completely wrapped in Christmas wrapping paper. Jolly Peter's friend and bodyguard, Patrick O'Patrickson, has his own theory.
Go at night, some moonshine night, just put the dog around him, put him on a trailer or walk him. And then probably somebody else to pick him up.
Over to you, Ron.
Thanks, Carol. We'll bring you more as this story develops.
I was stunned. Firstly, I couldn't believe how dirty my windows were. Secondly, I couldn't believe that Jolly Peter was actually a famous rapper. My music taste sits somewhere between Tom Jones and the fella who sings on the Go Compare adverts. I also couldn't believe that Jolly Peter had told me his real name when we met in Soho. But this didn't make sense. Why would a rapper be involved in this sinister world plot? And more importantly, who had killed him? And even more importantly, would I be next? I decided now would be a good time to clean my windows, which I did, with great gusto. Next, I decided to try the internet and research more about Jolly Peter. However, when I logged on, I noticed that I had received a chat notification. My blood went cold when I saw the user's name. This could be a trap. But I was too intrigued to stop. My blood ran cold. I had to decide whether I could trust this stranger. What had I got to lose? I had nothing left but guffaw. Five hours later, I was on a plane, heading for Ho Chi Minh City, otherwise known as Saigon. My mystery contact had booked a room at a suitable hotel, called the Bleeding Dog. I tried to sleep, but a combination of thoughts racing around my head, and the incessant bawling of the kid next to me, kept me awake. I arrived in Vietnam tired, frightened, but unexpectedly excited about what was going to happen next. When I arrived at the Bleeding Dog Hotel, I was pleasantly surprised. The woman on reception offered me sexual favors, but I wasn't sure the cost was included in the daily rate. So I refrained, despite being slightly aroused. I'd read on TripAdvisor that the shower fired jets of bubbling yak's milk when you pressed a certain button. I decided I'd give that a go later. The view from my balcony provided some insight into the busy metropolis. I suspected this city would look very different by night. I then received a phone call from reception. Once again I was offered sexual favors, and once again I declined. The receptionist also told me there was a car waiting for me. I grabbed my camera and left the security of my room. I couldn't believe my eyes. Two local men invited me into their red Ferrari. However, after a brief meander along some side streets, the driver announced that we were being followed. Thankfully I'd brushed up on my Vietnamese on the plane.
San Kulei Chung Taco the CHAM Lay Mo Chut Kung Kaiko Toi Bai Chung Say Du LICH Ba Dieu Poi Kung Toi Mon Lan On Bao Noi Vatu Mau Du Kuat Ban CAM on Lat News Toi So RANG Toi Dan Gap Co KHAM Mo Chut Volume 2 Amstack Stand out to you, Cardiff Young Beijio Toi SONGO Mo Ti Chung North Ten Love Aylesbury
CTHT コングトイゼンスンジュースベリー CH トイダ HIMHMT SIM BM.NH どう
Toi Chung Bajio No Ammo the Honor
CH トイノーヤ RNBTHPRN ダング THCBNV やコング CNC M.VBNHC S タイアイヤというハイセイララトゥア NHNR NG エオディーム BNSCV や CHNHTR CD ウケティセオ NHNGC CHMNHMCTPH PHN イソドイクワックスやなんで柔らかが入ってんだよ
Incredibly, we all survived the crash. Aside from being completely covered in my vomit, the driver and his friend were fine. They both left before the police arrived. I, on the other hand, was arrested and taken to the local police station.
Right times, 10:23 local time on Monday, September 12th. What is your name, young man?
Jamie Oliver.
You need anything before we get started?
Something with long sleeves, perhaps?
Now, just to prove you are indeed an English-speaking native, I would like you to write down these words. Slap the dog with a wire brush.
I beg your pardon?
Slap the dog with a wire brush.
I'm not entirely sure what language you're speaking, to be honest.
Do not play games with me, Mr. Corblimey, or I could get very agitated. Do you understand?
Yes, that was much better.
That's better. Now then, would you have any idea why a United States federal agent would want to talk to you?
I really don't know. I'm just a poor boy from a poor family.
Let's try once more. Would you have any idea why a United States federal agent would want to talk to you?
Guff 4, perhaps?
And what would you know about Guff 4, Mr. Corblimey?
I apologize in advance if I spelled dog incorrectly. Your pronunciation was a little strange.
Now I'm going to put some of this down to your famous British sense of humor. Occupation: international arms dealer.
Prosthetic arms.
Next of kin: Mickey Blue Eyes.
My beautiful dog.
Reason for being in Vietnam: you heard the war had ended.
Which I've now confirmed to be true.
Do you want to die here in Vietnam, Mr. Corblimey?
We all die eventually.
But here?
We seem to be hitting it off. What's the problem? I'm here on holiday. You're here primarily to work, but we could enjoy each other's company. See the sights. Get up to mischief. My hotel receptionist has already offered me sex on 2 occasions. She's quite fit for a woman of her age. Assuming she is a woman, of course. Let's live a bit, for Christ's sake. I've not hit a home run for months. You're a man. I'm a man. We have needs. Some different to others, but nothing to be embarrassed about. My wife was very adventurous in the early days. We used to do role play. I enjoyed playing the blind vicar, looking for a new bed in IKEA.
Corblimey, I'm going to have to bring this charade to an end. I don't know if you can read upside down, but I am writing your death warrant as we speak. You will die a gruesome death, my friend, if you do not reveal everything you know about Guff 4. Before you reply, I implore you to think carefully. For if your next words are not a direct response to my question, you will be taken from this room by 2 Vietnamese torture experts, and they will earn themselves a shit ton of overtime.
Bollocks. You must think I was born yesterday.
Mr. Corblimey, do you know why a child panics when they are in the deep end of the pool? It's because their feet don't touch the bottom. Sure, they can swim, but just that feeling, that nagging fear that if something happens, they can't stop and simply stand up. You, Mr. Corblimey, are a child swimming in the deep end. And sooner or later, that little fear that something might go wrong is going to enter your head. And when it does, you will drown, Mr. Corblimey, and I will drag your limp, heavy body from the water so that the real swimmers can use the pool.
Incredibly, the FBI agent then got up and told me I was free to leave. He told me to forget what I knew about Guffaw and to end my investigation immediately. I was in way over my head, and lucky to be alive. Nothing I could do or say would change anything anyway. No one would believe me. I would be ridiculed if I go public. He did, however, agree to join me on a night out in Saigon, and I felt like I couldn't refuse. I met the FBI agent in the hotel bar. He was very different out of uniform. His name was Andy, and he was good company. We walked through the streets of Saigon, and exchanged stories of our lives. Ironically, Andy was also separated from his wife. She was a complete bitch as well, apparently. We laughed and joked about many things. Women, jobs, ex-Marines, sons of rich people who get jobs purely because of their parents' social standing, and many, many more. The city was full of life. All of it oblivious to the events that had dominated my life over the past few weeks. We ended the evening in a nightclub, and seeing all of the happy faces, I couldn't help but wonder whether Guffaw was helping to create the mood. But then I realized. What did it matter? I'm here. I'm happy. And I'm alive. And as the clock struck 4 a.m., I saw her. The hotel receptionist. Her name is Mickey. And she has blue eyes. Call it fate. Call it Guffaw. But at that very moment, I knew. I was destined to be at this very spot, at this very time. And for the first time in my life, I grabbed destiny by the hand, and would never let it go again.